Hello. So let's talk about the inspiration behind a journey to a healthier me. At first, I was focused on just becoming healthy because I was not the healthiest person. I looked like it based off society standards because I was extremely tiny of a person. I could fit into just about anything. And the downside was I was eating horribly. So I knew that I really wanted to become healthier than where I was. So healthier was not the term I used in my head, coming from unhealthy. So I want to go from unhealthy to healthy. That was my mindset at the time. And then I got tired of fitting in as if they actually accepted me for who I am. That never really happened. So I was pretending to be someone I wasn't. I was masking heavily and I was just exhausted. And I really wanted to break stereotypes based off of not just my age, but not just being a woman. There's so many other stereotypes that I really wanted to break, and I'm more than happy to break that down into so many other ones throughout this podcast. But I honestly challenged the stigma on wellness, and the reason why STAG came out is because I was stagnant, because I was not getting any sort of support. I got so much hate. I used to get bullied for the way I think, and I haven't changed the way I thought about anything. I'm saying the same exact things I said a long time ago. So that was fun because then I got annoyed with what will people say? I got that all the time. Oh my gosh, if you are a person of color, you understand the lo kya kahenge, or what will people say? And why are we so focused on other people who have nothing to do with whatever the situation is? That makes no sense to me. And on top of that, where are these people when you're struggling? Nowhere. People's job is to talk. That's their job. That's what they're going to do. Whether or not they choose to be positive or negative, that's their decision. It has nothing to do with me. So that was something that I got annoyed with. And then I just honestly really wanted to belong somewhere, but a lot of places were not accepting of me. I've tried. It's not that. It's just, they just didn't fit. And that's okay. So then I decided, you know what? As I was healing, the inspiration behind this brand changed, because then I started focusing on healing. Let's learn how to eat better. Let's learn how to hydrate, which you would think is like so easy. Just drink water. But I grew up in a way where I was taught unhealthy behaviors. And so the sensor that tells us, like, oh, we're hungry. Oh, we're thirsty. Oh, we got to use the bathroom. Yeah, mine were busted because of it. So I had to learn this. And on top of that, I had to learn what my body needed and everything else given certain health conditions. And I didn't know what the health conditions were. So I was just weighing it really. So then I learned how to understand oneself. I learned what I needed. Thankfully, had the courage to go to therapy, and I worked with her, and I continue to work with her. It just looks a lot different than where it was, but I can see the growth. And the reason why I decided to go was, one, I needed help and I wasn't going to get it anywhere else. Two, I knew what I was capable of, and my actions and what I was thinking and everything, it wasn't a reflection of what I'm capable of and who I am internally. So I was like, okay, I want to break free from whatever this is. And that's what I did. And I realized healing is a non-linear journey. It's going to look different for all of us. And heck, we're going to go through different phases. And yes, we will have relapses where we go back and go through certain things, but it's going to look different. It's going to feel different each time. And for a while, it's going to be like, well, this is the same thing. And then once you recognize the pattern, then you're able to recognize so much more on your wellness journey. And it's a beautiful thing, because once you keep doing that for yourself, and then you realize that it's not just from you, it's also from influences around you. So then you're going to learn something we love to call boundaries. How do we maintain them? But more importantly, how the heck do we start making them in the first place? And the third part of that is, how do we enforce them? So that's something, but that's coming soon if you also have these questions. And the biggest inspiration that I had while healing on my wellness journey, and continue to heal, by the way, is I wanted to show what healing truly is like to help others. I didn't want to show some image and have people think like, oh, it's so easy for them. I'd never wanted that ever in my life. I wanted to be like, no, 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 it's messy. It sucks at times. At times I just want to cry, and I go in bed and just cry for a while, which does happen still. Not as often, but it still does happen, because crying is important to have a release, and it tells us a lot of things depending on the reason why you're crying. So then if you have a growth process, right? Process, not the word I was looking for, mindset, growth mindset. This is what comes next. You have to trust your process, whatever the process is, whether it looks similar to what I described earlier on in this podcast. Ooh, wait a minute. This is not coming earlier on. I'm going to be describing future, what the process looks like. Ignore this part. My bad. We're going to keep it in because you know what? I'm a human being. I make mistakes and that's fine. Anyways, next reason why I was inspired to continue this brand is because I wanted to share my story. And I think my story has so many different lessons, not just for me, but also for other people. And most importantly, if I can help one person say, look, she got through it, even though there were situations where it was against her, but she got through it. So I can too. That is my biggest moments that I'm looking forward to hearing more about when people say, your story helped me. That is what I'm looking forward to the most, on top of helping others. And to do that is not just me sharing my story, but I am a mentor. I became certified to do that. So I do help people through their own process, through their own journey with whatever I can, because I am not a licensed therapist. So I do hold my boundaries as well. And I do explain why I can help them, and I give them a guide on what to take with them when they do get to have access to therapy. So it still helps in ways, and I don't like leaving people stranded in the cold. This is not my style. And also, my hopes and inspiration to doing everything that I do is to raise awareness. When I started my wellness journey, and it started with mental health, the stigma was so strong, there were barely any resources. I was in middle school when I realized that I was struggling with depression, and no one, not even the adults, were doing something about it. So I got bullied by adults, actually, which insane, I know. And that still stuck with me, but I'm glad I rose above that and decided to be better, because they all have their reasons for saying what they did, and if they chose to continue a cycle that's unhealthy and can be harmful to others, that's their choice. I chose otherwise. I wanted to represent a community that deserves to be heard. There are millions of people that are struggling and silently, and the signs are already there, but people wait till it's too late to say anything or even bother about this stuff. And there are so many people who are just exhausted with masking. So if you found this podcast, I'm hoping this community becomes one that you feel safe to belong to. And most importantly, all these are important, but my favorite one is growing stronger together to give back to the community. Because the mentality is, or my ideology is, it starts with me, and then it goes to helping others. And then as others are going through their processes, then we expand, we come together as one unit, as one big team, one community, and we share more with the world, and hopefully can inspire so many more people. So we're starting somewhere, and I'm really excited to see where we all go. And I hope you choose to come along for the journey, but for however long you decide, I hope this inspiration behind A Journey to a Healthier Me inspires you to be a part of something bigger. As simple as listening, being a part of the community, being part of the pages, and as simple as being you. Thank you for listening.